Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, guys, game number 4, Infernal Shrines. beGenius was able to win a map, so they just took the game on Cursed Hollow, and now we're having Infernal Shrines. The 2-1 lead for Russian Circus puts them still in a spot where if they win here, they are qualified for 2017 for Blizzard's League. But if beGenius takes it, we're going to go the whole distance and going to play a 5th map. And Russian Circus, right off the bat, banning out the Zarya, respecting that and saying like, yep, we know you like to play that. We don't want you to have that massive sustain on Infernal Shrines with any kind of additional frontliner. So Infernal Shrines is the map, and that changes, of course, the pace of the game a little bit. But one still is true. Both of the teams would love to have a Dehaka, and it seems like beGenius is not willing to give that up.
Yeah, I'm going to ban that out, get rid of that global presence. Despite their Zarya being banned away, they are perfectly happy just limiting themselves in tanks more. Russian Circus, though, going to capitalize on that, bring in a tank for themselves with the ETC. Now the question is, do beGenius pick up a Muradin just to prevent themselves from getting their options severely limited in the next rotation by Russian Circus?
Another thing that we have to watch out for now is that Mopsio in particular has played some really good games on Johanna, I feel. The last few times I've seen him in previous tournaments, and again, that is a few weeks back even, seen him on ETC, that was a bit of one of his weaker heroes, where he tried to make plays, or he felt pressure too hard to make plays and engaged a bit too deep. That's one of the things that we definitely have to watch out for on this map right now, if he is on the ETC, which we can assume. But that's definitely something that we have to keep in mind while we're watching this. His Johanna plays so far were actually like very strong. I like that a lot. beGenius, then, on the other hand, with the Malfurion and the Tychus this time, so they are locking that down. And Russian Circus, we've been talking, especially throughout the first draft when it was banned out, a lot about Oriel as one of the comfort picks for Sefkaja. That could come into play, and yep, there it is, together with a Vala even. So strong picks already early on for Russian Circus, really catering to a lot of the players that they have in their setup.
Indeed, very much making themselves comfortable, but this also gives them a huge amount of aggressive potential. Due to the fact they can afford to go aggressive, and if they get turned on, they have that panic button in the form of the Aegis. So we will keep an eye on that, see how well they're able to do with it. And beGenius, what kind of bans are they going to go for? It's fairly safe to assume Russian Circus are going to ban out some kind of tank, whether it's going to be Muradin or Johanna, depending on which one they would prefer beGenius not to have. Whereas beGenius, banning some more range damage in the form of Gul'dan, a hero that Malfurion struggles to keep up with, so makes a lot of sense.
Gul'dan in particular is just crazy. Like, the amount of stacks that you get when you're fighting around the shrines is just absolutely fantastic. We have other bans for Russian Circus that we could also see if they're totally willing to just let beGenius have whatever tank they want. They could try and focus a bit more on the damage dealers. We have Falstad still out there. We have Li Ming still out there. Decent damage dealers. This is also one of the maps. Thrall, also decent. Yeah, especially, of course, since Earthquake gets a lot of value on the shrines. But there's another hero that I want to throw in. We rarely see him these days, but if being picked, this is one of the maps, Kel'Thas. Sometimes plays a role here. Gets a lot of value out of his AoEs and can be played if he fits the composition, if they wait for a bit longer. We have seen him, I think, in the last qualifier, was even in this one, I can't remember.
I believe it was the last one. Yeah, it was pretty effective, and Russian Circus have already shown they're fairly willing to pick Jaina, so Jaina or Kael'thas could work out for them quite nicely. beGenius also have the option of one of those. They've been given the option of which tank they want. Russian Circus don't seem to be that bothered about which one they play against, and beGenius decide that choice is going to be the Johanna for them, and looks like they're going to go for the Li Ming here as opposed to the Jaina or the Kael'thas, so limiting themselves in terms of Shrine AoE, really relying on Johanna to group up the objective so that Li Ming has a better chance of hitting them, but Li Ming now very limited on hitting heroes during those Shrine fights.
She's definitely going to rely heavily, of course, on those resets again, which is one of the biggest advantages that you have with Li Ming, the ability to snowball a team fight. We are mentioning Kael'thas here, even though he's like fairly out of meta at this point, because he is currently one of the underrated heroes that we have that still sees play occasionally. We have Russian Circus right now, on the other hand, with a Diablo trying to control the choke points. You haven't seen that in a while.
Hooray!
It was something that MVP Black has actually done for a long time, trying to just control choke points on Infernal Shrines, and most of the time playing that together with the Kerrigan, which in this case wouldn't really fit the comp anymore. But the Jaina, that we pointed out and you talked about, Hedger, is now added as an option, so there is actually a really good chance that we are even going to see a mosh pit on the side of ETC. So far, most ETC players leaning more in favor of a stage dive, but in this series we have seen it come into play every now and then.
The stage dive can still work here, giving a slow, which gives Diablo more time to get an Apocalypse off. That's what he goes for. He could also do the Lightning Breath, but the Apocalypse gets a bit more value here. However, beGenius wanting to potentially counter that, hovering over the Tyrael, the Sanctification, a super good counter to either of Diablo's heroics if they can group up effectively.
Yeah, Tyrael can be a game changer here again. beGenius and Russian Circus with solid draft. That's Diablo, definitely a bit of surprise coming into play. We haven't seen that hero in ages, so there's a lot of confidence apparently on Russian Circus in that particular comp. But it's also, it's something that you expect from a Russian team, coming up with these picks that they all of a sudden throw out that you don't really expect, and it worked well for them so far. The aggressive style that we've seen in the first few games was pretty fantastic. Infernal Shrines, again, ladies and gentlemen, is the 4th map in the best of 5 series, so we're going to jump in and let's find out together which team is going to take victory here. Alright, give me a dibbles.
Yeah, I'll say dibbles. Question is whether this is going to be a super cool pick that works perfectly for them, or whether Russian Circus, just a bit on tilt from the last game, whether their fear has betrayed them here.
And we also have Mopsio Diablo. I like that.
Mopsio Diablo.
I really think... Oh, we're going to talk about that in a moment, I think, as soon as we're in the game, since we mentioned it in the draft as well. Yep. But let me actually just double-check real quickly if the overlay is correct, because as it turns out, it is not. They switched.
How dare they? Why would they do this to us?
I need to be fast now, so...
Type.
That's correct, sweet.
Nice. Yeah, this is good. We have a very Diablo-heavy game.
Alright everybody, game number 4 has just started. The Russian Circus is still in the lead here with a 2-1, and if they claim victory on this map, then they will advance to play in Blizzard's 2017 League. At this point, we have to the left side, Tank for the win on the Tyrael for the French team, Unstable on Malfurion. We're currently seeing Danatano, Johanna, Arakin on Tychus, and Kirava on Li Ming. And to the right side, Mopsio not playing the ETC. We've been talking about it a bit, or being a potential weakness for him. But he's playing currently Diablo, so they actually switched it around and put Power of Dream on ETC. Sir Ice Cream is playing Vala, Neon on Jaina right now, and Sevkarja on one of his comfort heroes playing Oriel, and is most likely going to go for a full heal build with a bit of a focus on level 4 on the Detainment Strike to get the extra slow in here. So that's something that we can watch out for. But especially Diablo, quite a bit of a surprise.
Quite a bit of surprise indeed, but it could be due to the fact that we have seen Mopsio taking a lot of focus from the other team lately. So he is starting off at level 1 with his Devil's Due, reducing his revive count to 60. This is a talent that just gets immense value in the late game. So we will have to keep an eye on that. So he has the potential to potentially give his life for his team here, or at least give his life in favor of an objective a little bit later on. Perhaps you obviously don't want it to happen, but it can work out in their favor.
Diablo, of course, is a punisher. If you're out of position, he's the one to really dash in, flip you around, stun you out, and make these plays. He can also set up quite nicely for heroes like Jaina with an Apocalypse, depending on how exactly ETC in particular plays. But there's quite a few things that they could do. We have seen a lot of Lightning Breath on this map in particular. It is definitely going to be an interesting game. You don't see a Diablo these days all too often, so let's see how that plays out for them. Also noteworthy, Frog Rock taken on ETC as the level 1 talent, so he's trying to help out Sevkarj a little bit, healing the team.
Yep, so they have a huge amount of AoE potential here. Diablo very likely to take his AoE damage talent that he gets from his Fire Stomp on level 4, so he can get some good AoE on the Shrines as well. They have the damage from the Searing Light. They just want to be able to win the Shrines, and if their opponents try to contest, use the abilities and the amount of CC and burst that they do have to try it and punish them.
Yes, Ice Cream being attacked here, Tang. Oh yeah, Mopsio not going for it. Mopsio actually holding back here quite a bit, and I like it. He was known for a long time to be a bit too aggressive and to jump in too frequently. Right now he's really picking his battles. So solid play on all of the tanks that we've seen so far today. beGenius, extremely impressive performance throughout the tournament. Team really showing their strength, starting to make that comeback here. But let's find out if they can actually really go back into the series by dropping or taking the 4th game now as well. Adjustments on level 4 now for them with survivability and the loss of hope after reinforcements for Johanna, trying to stay alive a bit longer. And a focus actually on Smite for Tyrael as the fight still rages on over the first funnel.
Yeah, both teams attempted to grab something. Mopsio does have Fire Devil, so he has a bit more AoE, which is where a lot of Diablo's old value came, but he gets knocked down and is wiped out. Not enough souls for revive, and so is Sir Ice Cream.
Yeah, beGenius taking a double kill here, and that will result in them claiming Punisher #1. After they lost the initial 2 maps, they are showing really good play now on map number 3, and so far, at least on map number 4.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy for them right now. They looked strong on the shrine for a while. They were getting a good amount of AoE damage and killing off a lot of skeletons, but immediate turnaround from beGenius just putting on the pressure.
Now, one of the things that we have in this game lacking in comparison to all of the games that we've seen before in the series is global heroes. We don't really have anybody that can split soak on another lane, maybe with the exception of potentially ETC, depending on the heroic ability that he chooses on level 10. So far, the teams have been focusing a lot on heroes like the Haka, Brightwing, Falstad, just trying to get that extra experience and also the opportunity to gank up on an opponent's team's hero. This time we are seeing more of a straightforward game, focusing on the objective here. Level 7 talents are, thanks to the kill and the first Punisher, faster for beGenius, and the French team taking a slight lead on a map that can be very snowball.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job here, and the fact is, Diablo's having to play a little bit more passive than we thought he would, and we did call this a little bit earlier. Especially though due to Tychus. He has taken in the rhythm, so not only is he already shredding for a big chunk of Diablo's health, which is actually why Diablo took Devil's Due as opposed to the regen talent that he can get on level 1, it also means that the more Diablo is actually tanking, especially up to Araken, the stronger Araken is going to become in the late game.
Yeah, the bot lane, we're still seeing Diablo hold this against 2 heroes, Kieva and Arcane, plus, Unstable actually even as well. So 3 heroes going for camps and trying to push the bot lane in. At the top we have the camp taken. So far the second shrine hasn't been announced yet, but we have level 7 talents, which leads for Diablo in the diabolical momentum.
Yeah, not taking the resistant talent, which is the other talent we see Diablo's taking every now and again from the Shadow Charge, which can combo quite well with the reduced cooldown, so we can get basically 8 seconds worth of resistance at level 16, which can get decent value, but in this case, he wants to be able to do huge AoE damage, which can once again help them burst down a shrine.
Level 10 abilities are going to be extremely interesting here, because that potential synergy that we have between a lot of the heroics that could be dropped for the Russian team is pretty huge. But we've seen, especially in the last game, how much of an influence a good sanctification can have on these late game team fights, and that is something that the Russian circus needs to be very worried about. The bottom fort has been taken out, and it looks a bit like we are seeing the French team aiming for an early level 10 to get that Punisher. I'm not quite sure if they have the time though for it.
Yeah, they're trying to race as much XP as possible, but 26 skeletons already gathered for Russian Circus here, and they have huge control of this objective. Mopsio dropping his stop, but he's not actually standing on the point, because once again, this is what we said, he could just give too many stacks over to Araken. Instead, he pulls back and starts rotating around to continue grabbing XP for his team, while still stomping, getting a little bit of AoE damage onto the objective. But there is no way Russian Circus can push too aggressively with this, because level 10 has been hit for beGenius.
Yeah, if you go in too deep right now with 10 available, you're losing a few heroes on the way back. And this is actually that ETC should be very worried about. So Power of Dream goes back very late. In this case, it could have backfired immensely. He's still alive, he's safe, so it's 10 versus 9.5. They're going to get their heroics very soon, Russian Circus, but there is the gank up on ETC. Bit later than expected, didn't have to use any of their cooldowns. They get the kill though. Level 11 already for the French team, as we're still seeing the Russian Circus struggle towards the next talent.
Yeah, they're doing their best. They've won the objective, but they're struggling to soak lanes just due to beGenius putting on some great rotations thanks to their talent advantage here. Now we're seeing a big aggressive push onto this top lane, trying to take down the fort as quickly as they can. Ariel, though, positioned carefully to help out Sir Ice Cream if they need to.
beGenius impressed us against Team Liquid by showing a lot of aggressive plays and being really very pushy about every single advantage, no matter how small. Against the Russian Circus, they lost it a bit on the earlier maps, but I feel like they're finding back into their old rhythm right now. Now it's time for level 10s though, and it's already a 3-0 on the kill count, but we have the heroic abilities for the Russian team, which at this point are Stage Dive. We see the Lightning Breath, so a lot of zone abilities here. Ring of Frost too. And this is going to be where the game really starts, I feel. But that lead that we have for the French team is something that the Russian Circus has to try to make up for.
Yeah, the Halitosis Diablo going to have to very much rely on the slow from Stage Dive or the root from Ring of Frost in order to get the full value out of that. Otherwise, exactly like you said, it's going to just be a zoning ability. And for a 60-second cooldown, not the kind of thing you want to use just for zoning. Not the longest cooldown in the world, but you still want to try and get at least some damage out of it.
Yeah, we have a bottom shrine reactivated, and again, it's only half a level. And I feel this time the chances of beGenius to soak enough to get the next talent are very, very high. So if they make that work, they will have a massive advantage. They're even trying to take the well away, so no fountain to just go back and recharge mana and hit points. This is getting a bit dirty, and it seems like the Russian Circus actually agrees. They're just saying like, yeah, we're never going to get that, so let's just go to the top lane and drop a fort instead. That's going to help us. We can even push in maybe towards that keep a little bit more, but we're going to lose the Punisher eventually.
Yeah, and they, like you said, they had no chance of capping it, but in exchange, we're seeing a push on the bot lane coming out of beGenius. They want to try and get any kind of counter hits. They know they'll get the objective, so they just want to make sure that they're not trading an objective for a push. Instead, they want to trade an objective and a push for a push. And it's working out for them, because now we're going to have to see Russian Circus be back to base to defend this and give up on their push. Whereas beGenius have only just started, because they now have that Punisher.
This means keep, 100%. This is going to be a keep for sure. Very unlikely that they can push it farther than that, but the keep is going to be taken. So that, or it should at least be. There's the push.
Nice,
13 versus 13 talents at this point now, though. We have even the repelling strike taken, which is definitely not the usual talent. Nice stage dive, good slide. Wow, the Ring of Frost comes in. Holy cow, it's a triple kill. We just saved the keep, get a triple kill, and try to chase the rest of the team. What the hell just happened, Tesha?
Can you say combination? Because I can. Araken getting chased down. The boss, the Punisher, still going. It's still got a good chunk of health, but they were able to grab Tychus as well with this chase. Thanks to Diablo charging onto a minion to give himself some extra chase potential. The keep may actually still go down here. This is the Sentinels here doing some good job. Sentries. Oh, it lives. It lives.
They save it for now, but that really felt. I mean, they got completely blindsided here. That combo hurt, and it hurt a lot. 4 kills out of the back of that. Decent value, saving the keep even. Yeah. God knows how that happened. Great pull into the mid lane.
All the way over to mid keep. He was able to delay it on there. You can see mid keep actually way less than half health at this point, because the Punisher was just wailing on it without any kind of defense. But 2 half health keeps better than not having one of your keeps.
I mean, that was crazy good. Baiting the Punisher in the mid lane, pretty standard there, but well executed. Not making any mistakes with this, and the engage this time was perfect. I mean, they are still in a bit of a weird position here, but they have taken the lead in experience. They have to guard the bot lane, because one hero that moves in will destroy it. So I guess that's got to be a sneak kill at some point in the game. But at least in experience, they have fully recovered, and they can now fight on even talents again. That was a nice comeback.
Yeah, Mopsio still doesn't even use his heroic there. That entire fight was without a good knockback from Sevka, trying to save Neon. There is the Aegis. In comes the Ring of Frost. Doesn't hit anyone. Neon is deleted here. There's the Sank. And this is the kind of fight that beGenius were looking for. There's the Lightning Breath trying to do something. Mopsio will fall here, but he has enough souls. It is a 2-for-1 right now. We're 2 for 2.
The resets. Oh, that was actually like really close there.
Oh.
Hey, they got the kill against Living Power of 3. What the hell? And Donatan says like, screw it. I'm going to take the keep. I don't care if I die or not, but that thing goes down now.
The question is, will he die? The speed boost has been given to him by Tyrael. He's on the run. The shields come in. Mopsio charging after him. He doesn't get the overpower. Donatan speeding out thanks to the extra speed from Tyrael, and they get the keep.
What is this? Like, that fight was basically just like 2 guys in the ring without a defense at all, just wailing at each other. And if not for these kills and the resets on Li Ming, that would have been a complete wipe against the French team. But they took so much advantage out of the resets, and Li Ming got the damage in. These fights are getting insane.
They really are, and with both teams at level 16, they're only going to get more crazy. Imposing presences coming in for Diablo, ETC, and Johanna here, trying to block any kind of damage. Ariel, yet to pick her 16, still hesitating on it. Is she going to go for the ability power? Yes, she is finally picking it for Neon.
Oh, Vala losing connection for a moment. That gives out a bit of a breather. We have currently the Wrath of Heaven taken. The ability power, you said it, for Jaina is going to be super strong. That's going to help a lot with those wombos that they're trying to establish right now. Just making sure that they get that in. Vala herself with the Seething Hatred here, so that's another big talent, just waiting for the auto attacks to happen. And that is pushing Johanna then back a little bit later. Besides that, when we're looking at the raw damage, Diablo has actually the highest hero damage of the red team. Russian Circus, 13,000, which overall is not too much if you compare it to Li Ming, who, I mean, let's face it for a moment, really, really capitalized on that last fight and racked up a lot of numbers there.
Yeah, she would have probably got ETC as well if she hadn't grouped up with her team and made it so that she was caught in the stun as well. And Pharaoh Dream just picked her off, just like, oh, you're still here? Okay, I'll kill you then. And that allowed Mopsio to just rejoin the fight after that revive. Mopsio getting some insane value out of Devil's Due for the moment.
Sefkage, it was actually like really interesting because Sefkage, when Mopsio started to go for the Lightning Breath, we still had a situation in which Sefkage was trying to heal him, and if the cooldown would have been a little bit lower, he would have been able to keep him alive completely. So that would have been really close. My favorite moment in the last fight, to be quite frank, was when we suddenly had Danatan saying like, "Screw this, I'm gonna take that thing now." Like,
I'm done with this.
They are fighting 2 versus 2, like half a screen away, and he's just like, "No, I'm gonna go in. Like, no matter if I die, this keep falls now." Even if I die, it doesn't matter. We are still 10 minutes in. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we are still looking at 16 versus 16. We're actually looking at the fight right now. And we have everybody on the panel, or everybody like on the point. And when you look at the heroic abilities, there actually are still a couple of important cooldowns that are not ready for beGenius. They're still waiting for Malfurion getting his silence back. That's another 10 seconds. That isn't too crazy. They can stall out for that. But 26 seconds on the drill, that's a bigger issue, especially if you consider that we already have 21 minions taken on the side of Russian Circus.
Yeah, we also have the fact that Russian Circus, despite also being ahead on the minions, they also have all their heroics. So if they can burst them down quickly, or at least force a fight right now, they're going to be in a very advantageous position. And we will see that Mopsio and Valor are going to take a lovely Arcane Orb to the face. There's going to be no dodging that, even with the power of the pause. But they're going to take some good damage from this.
Yeah, for sure. The heal should be there shortly after that. But already the Lightning Breath. Oh! Goodbye, Diablo! And the rest of the team is already on the run. Diablo will be back soon. We talked about his level 1 talent, of course, and his trait in particular. But yeah, they're still poking it. 31! They have 31 minions. Of course, they're going to lose out a little bit, but Diablo is about to be back. Cooldowns have been used. They're talking cooldowns. Here comes the stage dive.
He just used to try and keep ETC alive as he immediately got rooted. Ring of Frost lands on 2. The objective, only 3 left. It is finally going to be taken. Actually, will it? Yes, there it goes, finally. Over to Russian Circus, but they're going to lose almost everyone here. Neil going to be the only survivor. Mopsio nowhere near enough souls to survive this one.
Oh, okay, so Diablo is finally down for the count. The Ragdoll thrown around here. There comes the Punisher. And are they defending? For a moment, they all walked to the right side. They were basically just saying, okay, guys, what can we actually take here? I mean, I don't really believe that they were trying to go for the core here, but do you think they were thinking about simply like sneaking in at the side and backdooring the keep?
I think they might have been considering it. It's super low. They might have been able to push through if they had been able to use Tyrael to defend, but it's not worth the risk. Jada has too much burst damage, which is why they left it. And this game is starting to feel very familiar. We are seeing beGenius controlling a game, winning it for just completely crushing in terms of structures, and yet Russian Circus appear to be winning almost every team fight and the majority of the objectives. This is very familiar, Caldor.
It's a bit of a reverse of what we had in the last game, yeah, for sure. But, I mean, we are still in a situation in which there is a lot of potential for these wombos that we experienced in the first team fight that happened here. So for now, Holy Ground, of course, also a big tool for them. But I'm really curious about these upcoming fights here, because I think a lot of the abilities that we had in the last one didn't really hit as they wanted to. The Ring of Frost so far were decent, but we had a couple of those really miss quite a bit. So I want to see how much they can actually do if they land that combo once completely, if also Vala gets her ult through a little bit longer. And it feels to me like Diablo all the way up at the front line and ETC too, they exposed themselves a lot both times they used Lightning Breath and also that stage dive that we saw on ETC. They were waiting for him to come down and try to drop him, even with the Aegis being used.
Yeah, any single time that Diablo is far forward, all we're seeing is Malfurion dropping the root, and then Titan Grenade, and then in the river minigun from Tychus. Then Diablo is just getting shredded. He needs any kind of protection. But now, he's going in. The aggressive zoning lightning breath here, he will survive. The root actually prevented from grabbing the camp for a while, but they will steal that away. But bot lane is pushing hard.
Douchebag move right there. Thanks for all the work. We're going to take that now. Cheers. Appreciate it.
Tyrael actually scouted every bush except that one with his Q, so they were able to steal that quite nicely. You see Mozio clearing mid, but bot lane pushing all the way to the core at this point.
Exactly, the bot lane is going to be defended. That's not the issue. I feel the bigger problem is that Power of Dream uses cooldown. So he jumped in. He can defend that. I'm not really worried about that. What I'm really worried about is that he might not be ready for the top lane. Because right now there's 5 seconds left. His heroic ability is on another 30. He can't wait that long. And a catapult is moving in as is. So they need to win that fight. And they are actually at this point willing to even sacrifice a bit of damage on the core.
There's still a single mercenary as well. Mopsio once again getting targeted. He is down. No souls. He doesn't have enough. He's on the 60-second cooldown. Power of Dream coming in to defend his team here. But they can't win this fight now.
Yeah, and that's exactly the problem. He didn't have the cooldown on the stage dive. The fight happened before he was up at the top. Now it's a 5 versus 4. Them stealing the camp and not getting any additional kills basically might have cost them the game just now, because this is going to be another Punisher for beGenius, and it will be level 20. And we can see how much value they get out of it. But losing the objective is because they sacrificed the cooldown and didn't get anything in return.
Yeah, they were able to grab a mercenary camp that was stolen away. We are seeing Russian Circus gaining any value they can. They know they need 20 if they're going to want to keep fighting in this game, and they are able to grab mid-keep. Mid-wall, sorry, they're still going. They actually want mid-keep. They're going to at least get the wall on this while they have minions. Then they need to be back and defend. This towers will probably give them 20, so they will be able to defend on even talents. You need to be back quick, Pizza Ice Cream. Your team needs you.
Yeah, Diablo is going to be there, so everybody is on the way back right now. It should be a keep that falls here. Well, even if they bait into the mid lane keep will get a lot of pressure. It is also an Arcane Punisher. I mean, that makes things even worse. We have Diablo with a lot of terror right now. We're seeing also Death Metal, so ETC is willing to sacrifice himself here. Diablo already being attacked. The Aegis is on the ground as we see immediately Tyrion losing his own ult. They're moving in. Good strafe coming out of Sir Ice Cream with the Ring of Frost being on the ground with the Breath of Fire pushing everybody back. And once again the kill against Malfurion, actually. This is once more the Russian Circus going full ham, sacrificing ETC. That Death Metal is the end of Tyrael as they're trying to keep up. He walks through the arcane. Why on earth would you do that?
He had enough souls, but like you said, that was terrible. He didn't want to move up top, so instead he walked into his death. And Neon, having to drop the ice block there to survive the turrets. That Arcane Punisher doing so much damage. But overall, that is 2 kills for 2, but the difference is Diablo's already back.
It's unbelievable that they are able to save these keeps. That should not happen. That should absolutely not happen. That's a huge problem on the side of beGenius. They were twice now in situations where it was more or less a guaranteed kill on a keep. And they had problems in both of these. So right now, moving back, maybe Malfurion a bit too far forward. He wanted to go for the silence, he got that through, but that was a big issue for them. Also, I'm not sure if that waste of a cooldown on Mopsio with him dying there is not going to come back to bite them.
They absolutely need to get enough souls. He only needs a couple, but he needs to get them as quick as possible. Unfortunately, my UI doesn't show how many souls he has.
I mean, that's really dangerous right now. Them losing the, I mean, that was insane. I mean, him dying there. He walked with the Arcane Sentry. That happened to me playing Diablo 3, and then I was already mad. But that's well, okay. Let's see how that works out for them. That is a crazy game. This could be the last game of the series. There's so much on the line here.
Yeah, this could be. If Russian Circus can win a team fight here and an objective in either mid or top lane, they may be able to push through for the win. But that bot lane still under pressure. And even if it does win the bot lane and Russian Circus can win the objective, there's still a fort in the way. Bot lane is a terrible place for Russian Circus to be.
Yeah, this time they're all 5 up at the top lane. They're not going to waste another cooldown here. Bot lane, okay, they need to win this one. You're totally right. There's a camp pushing through the mid lane.
They can't capitalize on it. It's the worst case scenario for Russian Circus right now.
Okay, so I mean, if they win the fight, then it's all good. And but still, this has been so close the entire time. All of their cooldowns are ready. It's all good, but still, it's like these fights have been crazy. The complete team wipe, and the turnaround. Li Ming capitalizing on the resets at the other fight that we saw at the bot lane, and now this one. This is what it comes down to, Ditcher.
Mopsio getting chased down. He is the target here. They want to try to avoid attacking Power of Dream, unless Power of Dream is far enough away that they're not going to get caught in that death battle. Mopsio getting focused out by the laser, but he's actually able to kill the laser. There is the root. He keeps himself alive thanks to the shield from Ariel. Power of Dream into the backline. He just once again focusing on Mopsio. Mopsio getting focused. He saves himself with Lord of Terror. He's finally killed off, but he has enough souls.
He even dashed away to a minion to save himself there. They've dropped so much on him. 2 cooldowns remain though, and that's the silence on Malfurion and the sanctification. They can still drop those. The fight continues. The lead on the blue team. Here comes the Ice Cream. ETC jumps in. Doesn't hit anybody. Silence is in. They want to punish him. Li Ming is down though. That's a huge kill.
Diablo's back, he still has his ult, they're going up to Tychus. The Sanctification is nowhere near him. Here comes the Lightning Breath to try and take him down, but he's healing up thanks to his, that's the stuff. He survives, but he's caught in the death metal, and Tychus is taken down. That's a 2 for 2 technically, but Mopsio, guess what? He's back in the fight.
I love how Tychus just didn't give a shit. I mean, pardon my French here, but he just stands in, takes it, and says, like, laughs in his face and says, like, screw you, I'm gonna kill you. Talking about killing stuff. Look at the top lane. Yeah. Look at it. They are gonna lose a keep.
Jada's trying to defend it, but like you said, that was perfect. Tychus was like, oh, I'm sorry, you're the literal devil? Yeah, I can beat that. I can just gain health from you by shooting you. We're going to see Mopsio pushing in here with the rest of his team. They have the Punisher. And once again, they can't capitalize on it as much as they would have liked to, because it is the bottom lane where there was still a fort to go through.
Yeah.
But they've managed to lose their top keep as well. They need to get some value out of this. Punisher chasing Johanna, though. They can't get as much as they like. Mopsio just tanking as much as he possibly can.
If that Punisher would have been taken by beGenius, the game would be over since he would have walked right onto the core. But now they need to get at least the keep. Tychus is back in another 5 seconds. They need to burst this down. They need something to save their lanes at least. ETC goes in. Are they going to try for it? If they get a kill, they might as well. They're trying. Headshot, they're trying. They're going for it. They know that they are behind overall. Once again with the unstoppable on Diablo as he going in straight away, and Jäger is already being dropped to save them. But down goes Diablo for 60 seconds over all the course of 60%. So Ice Cream repulsion being used against him. Attacks the keep for 2. I don't even know why. The Punisher is still alive, but it's only Sefkasha. In power of 20%, 20. That's not enough. The death the death metal.
But it's not enough. Sir Ice Cream was actually knocked back after being rooted, so he was stuck in that position. The only thing to attack in range was the keep, and the keep slowed his attack, so he couldn't move on to the core. A disastrous attempt at core for the Russian Circus, and we're going to see beGeniuses heading across the map to go for the Russian Circus core. The nearest cooldown is 20 seconds on Diablo. That is not enough, Caldor.
Yeah. I mean, they just thought we have to try. They knew that it was like a huge risk, but oh god, 20%. We're gonna see a 5th game, Thatcher. This game, 22 kills against 12. Game number 5 coming in, ladies and gentlemen, as beGenius takes Russian Circus to the last map of the best of 5 series.